Living Free Ashley here. Today we are making savory almond meal crackers. I made these a little while ago and freaking fell in love with them. They ended up being so good. Before we get into the crackers, I'm going to talk a little bit about almond pulp and almond meal and almond flour. So we are making the crackers, we're making the almond meal with almond pulp from making almond milk. It's a lot of almonds, I know. So I made almond milk with my BioChef juicer. If you want to learn more about my juicer, you can hit the little eye up here and it'll take you to one of the videos I did on it. So the pulp I used is actually quite dry. That's one of the benefits of the juicer. But if you make your own almond milk with a blender and you have that kind of wet pulp, it's all the same. You just kind of have to cook it a little bit longer or bake it a little bit longer. So the difference between almond meal and almond flour is just the skin. So when you have whole almonds with the skin on and you make the pulp and then you bake it, that's almond meal. So it's just a little bit coarser and it has the skins in it. If you use whole blanched almonds and make your almond pulp and almond flour, from there it's flour because it's finer and it doesn't have the little bits of skin. So just a little learning moment there that I learned while making this video. I felt like I had so much more to say, but maybe that's it. Yeah, so let's just get into making these crackers. After you've made your almond milk and you have your almond pulp, then we need to make the almond meal. So spread your almond pulp on a baking sheet with parchment paper or a silicone mat and preheat your oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake for 30 minutes and then give it a stir. Throw it back in the oven for another 30 minutes and give it another stir. You can do this with your hands because it's not very hot, and that way you'll be able to feel how dry it is. If it doesn't feel completely dry, especially if you're using wet pulp, it won't be dry yet, throw it back in for another 30 minutes or so. At this point, I could tell my pulp was super dry and it didn't need to go back in, but you may need to put it back in for another 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the wetness of your pulp. So once that is cooled completely, you can throw it into a blender and give it a little blend until it is nice and fine. It will, of course, still have the little bits of skin in it and it'll be a bit coarse, but that's all right, it's almond meal. Okay, so let's make the crackers. In a medium bowl, add 3/4 cup of almond meal, 1/2 cup of ground flax, a big dash of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic, and 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And mix that up until it's all well incorporated. And add 1/2 cup of water and give that a really good stir until you can form it into a ball. And set that aside to sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 325 degrees and line a baking sheet with silicone mat or parchment paper. Put your dough onto your baking sheet and wet your hands. And from here, you're just going to press down and spread out the dough until it's as thin or thick as you'd like. You could definitely use a rolling pin and parchment paper here, but I like getting in there with my hands and really working it. The thinner the crackers, the crispier the crackers will be. Top with sesame seeds, either raw sesame seeds or toasted or a mixture of both. And just wet your fingertips a little bit so you can press the sesame seeds into the dough. And next, bake for 45 to 60 minutes, depending on how crispy you like your crackers. Once the large cracker has cooled, break it into smaller crackers. These are great on their own, topped with avocado or vegan cheese, or broken up and put onto salads as croutons as well. So good, so flavorful, so crunchy and crispy, and I liked these crackers so much that it inspired me to do another video on sweet crackers, sweet almond meal crackers. So that'll be coming up in a few. I haven't filmed it yet, but it's in my brain. You know that I like making things from scratch and trying to use less packaging and being zero waste. So these crackers really come full force because I'm making my own almond milk, and then I'm using the almond pulp to make almond meal to make crackers. So there's absolutely no waste in this recipe. There's no packaging, and it's super tasty. So that makes me happy. Thanks again for watching another episode with me, Living Free Ashley, and cheers to living free.